but I was the first person really being caught by one of the guys with a machete to my throat. I didn't know what to do.
This is the Freedom Mastery Podcast, the place to learn about rent-to-rent and other property investment strategies. Your host, Camille Domsky, has spent 5 years studying advanced property investing strategies and using creative methods to acquire houses. Now, he wants to help you reach your property investing goals. Let's get started.
How you doing, guys? Welcome to another freshly squeezed episode of the Freedom Mastery. And as you can see in the background, I've got a very special guest right here in the studio in Midlands in the UK. Very special guest with me today. A good friend of mine on a personal basis, but also somebody who's doing phenomenal things in property and who's also actively making money for property every single day. As I told you guys, we have people who are coming on the podcast who are making money starting from the ground level, people who are already in the industry for years, people who are making incredible things in development. Today, I brought to you guys my good friend Błażej. Błażej is a fantastic mortgage broker, but not only, and he's doing great things. I see that he's helping people all the time. So Błażej, just take it off and tell people what you do and who you are.
Hi guys. So as I've been introduced, my name is Blaze Błażej. I'm from Wigan. I've been in the UK since I remember, since nearly when we joined the EU, so 2004. The whole sort of spectrum of life not being really so kind and bright, bright as we can imagine at the beginning. But since the waves been kind of moving forward, I've started developing and meeting a lot of people because, as we know, by yourself there is not much you can do by yourself. So always the team is better to build your wealth and your future prospects, your goals, and everything. So that's why we together with Camille as well. We've got a couple of ideas that we want to dish out together and possibly go through them. Originally, I've started my kind of financial career. If I could just give you a bit of a background, I've worked at Bank Lloyd's TSB back then. Started for kind of being introduced in a bit of community level for Polish community, obviously, and all the East European countries. Setting up an account, helping them with explaining, preparing them as what's needed in the lives. So every single steps throughout the way. I mean, the people have been coming with various problems, not just the financial aspect. So I've had to learn, a difficult one, skaters, and either them simples, but by all means, back into the square as the financial aspect. I was helping through the account opening, referring customers to the financial advisors, okay, and then being an active member in the interview with the clients. So introducing, explaining, translating, going all the way through they kind of lives and preparing them for the English market. The way of the people need to be prepared, protect as well. By not doing things incorrectly, and especially with wrong way with HMIC, because people didn't understand this. And that gave me a spectrum of the way for my kind of a career and the way forward as what I want to do with a life. I called this time as being slightly being a young person at that time. I'm not kind of myself being old, still as young, 18, 21. That's max. I would
Forever young.
I would admit myself. But then, I mean, taken from there, I was thinking, that going to be a massive prospect as if I could utilize it. And being a young, as I just said, being slightly brainwashed by the bank, the way the spectrums, the trainings levels and everything. I was thinking that the banks, that particular bank, is the one and only, and especially the best for every sort of angle of the business. and helping with the mortgages, especially. Then there was another step I went through is being a financial advisor then and helping them out and explaining every angle of the business, what the customers' needs are, and how we can really actively help them
Yeah.
to set up their lives. And then mortgages. And the people started creating their wealth and didn't know what to do with them. So the mortgages, there was one of sort of very interesting, and it was always triggered me to how I can absorb this information and remember, and then utilize the information and kind of pass it on to my. At the time, I didn't know that going to be my future business.
Of course.
But then I was so into it, I could say. I know it sounds funny, but then if you kind of really liked it, and then as in my future career wasn't really linked to the finances. I always wanted to do something else, helping the people, but from the different angle as being a health professional, really. I was a physiotherapist at the time when I wanted to do
Wow.
everything. Yes, and then as you say, I think the mortgages really intrigued me so much that I said, right, okay, why would I not do it myself? And kind of get the exams and possibly have that on board as an advisor, as a financial advisor, and then being a mortgage broker. So that kind of changed my career path. So I moved on from there to the finances totally, and then I wanted, stay with it. Then in the future, which I didn't know at the time, how good are going to be. Because obviously, if you start and you don't know how good you're going to perform, how the business is going to be paying out to you, because obviously then I wanted to leave the bank, because obviously by being on the wages, you've not been getting as much as rewards from this, other than the workload being increasing, but the money not really. And I said, right, okay, I've got a potential, I've got knowledge, I could really do something else and
Amazing.
move further with this. And the opportunities been really coming across from everywhere. The
Love
people
it.
being wanted this and the other. And I said, right, that's fantastic. So I can really make some kind of coins from it as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the residue been really going really great. And up to now, I've been doing this for nearly 2016 when I started by myself doing my own business, and I'm still in it. I'm still
Wow.
doing well and I'm performing. So I'll just say, all the aspects of kind of being orientated, concentrated, aiming, creating your goals, seeing the more opportunities,
Wow.
gaining, sort of friendly and really people who you want to go together with, sort of as Camille. So we really get on together very well, as you can tell. So I mean, the inspiration comes from all angles. I think
Wow.
you kind of emphasize the information to the people and comes and go just as naturally, I think it is.
Wow, absolutely, 100%. I agree with you. And yeah, of course, we do get on like a house on fire. And yes, you're surrounding yourself with the right people. Of course, we're going even together on the networking events, right? Because why not? Hey there, I hope you're enjoying the episode right now. If you're anything like me, you're definitely not a spectator. You want to know what's next, what's the next move. And the next logical move for you is to send me a text on my private number. It's 075 22 571 026. That's 075 22 571 026. With your permission, my aim will be to understand your plans and goals, and then to identify actions that will take you from where you are right now to your point of destinations. This will truly help you to gain unfair advantage in your rent-to-rent business. Now, let's get back to the video. And that's how we grow together. If we grow together. But what you said is absolutely amazing. So you gave us a lot of background. What triggers my next question is actually the question about when you actually transitioned from your previous career to the career of spotting the opportunity as a broker, as a mortgage advisor, and also you had this concept. And let's face it, a lot of people nowadays, they will have different concepts in their mind. People dream about new career. People think that they could make very good living out of a concept, but a lot of people don't take that step, and they just live in that place of dreams, but they never plug the courage. and they just allow fear to take over their life.
Oh.
What triggered you to come over your fear and act regardless in 2016?
Right, guys. So, such a good question. A really juicy one, as I can call it. That one. I like you. I like you for that, Vince.
Only juicy questions here, right? The Freedom Mastery podcast is all about the juicy content.
Go on, then squeeze me out though. Right. So, to be honest, it's I would say, I don't know, the mental transition. It's hard to say that I've just only going off the books. It's my spectrum, so this is the way I've kind of went with it, because by staying in the bank, there was quite a good few years. There was 7-8 years I was with the bank, but the one sort of inclusion, which kind of been mixture of my feelings, how the banks is, how we doing, as I've just brought out at the beginning, bit of a brainwash. I didn't really go out. I was kind of very focused on the bank, saying the banks is the best, banks doing this and the other, and there's no other brands, no other life other than bank exists outside.
Loyalty.
Exactly, the loyalty. And then that's why I'm saying brainwash. I mean brainwash in sense of being taught and being kind of learned, went through all the exams, tests, and so on, so on, which really brought me to the conclusion, is there anything else other than that place? But one other major thing, the life events kind of scenario then, which kind of attacked me or surprised me, which I didn't understand at the beginning, because the situation I'm trying to tell you now is I only seen it on the movies and didn't know that them kind of situation exists in real life. A bit of traumatic sort of scenario, the situation I've had.
Okay.
I was taken as a hostage. We've had a raid.
Oh, wow.
We've had a raid on the bank. It's one of the simple days, normal day. We were shot in the branch 10 to 5. At 5 we were closing, and suddenly the people dropped in, out of nowhere, to the bank. They've stepped in with the guns, with the machetes and everything. And the terrifying thing was, I was the first person by, no, it was my mistake, or either there was just coincidence there. I was trying to help one of the clients, and I went to pay the check over to the counter. The counter did that for me as a priority, because there was a big lump sum check, because I was a personal banking manager at that time, so I was helping the clients in the offices. So I didn't really been interfering with the clients at the front desk. I was just only passing by when the people actually came in. And they forced everybody to be lying down on the floors and everything. But I was the first person really being caught by one of the guys with a machete to my throat. I didn't know what to do. Do you know the life? Do you know imagine the couple of seconds the life went through my head, in front of my eyes. I didn't know what to expect. If I'm going to die, they're going to be in the last minutes. They would be the last time I'm kind of breathing. Do you know? I know it is so sensitive information then went through my head. The most important things. There was definitely not the money, not the bank, not to defend anybody, because the training we were given, that's the people who are coming here to the bank and once demanding the money, they only came for the money, not for you. Okay, so just don't think about it. Try and be in Superman, superhero. You're not there for it. Okay, you're meant to really get on with their requests, be obliged with your requirements, give them the money, and off they go. Okay, to not having a risk to your health or either to your customers. So in general, we've had a really tough time at the time. There's only about 10-15 minutes for me. There was a life story I could tell you, thinking that I'm going to be the last minute I'm there. And since that, when the people actually left the bank, I was thinking to myself, right, I think that was one of the points telling me that I need to do something else. And the knowledge I gained, it will be something will be able to put me further on the step ladder of my life and move on with something else, something better. And something better is definitely waiting for me around the corner. It's not definitely the bank, even though they've helped me a lot. I mean, I do appreciate what the bank did for me, but end of the day, I wasn't prepared to give my life for it.
Of
Okay,
course. I
first
bet.
thing. And then when I came back home and I said to my wife, you know, we've had just the baby arrived 2 months beforehand this situation happened, and I said no, that's kind of be right for us. We young. I want to look after my child. I want to be there for him and be the help. I want to be provider. I want to be 100% a father. I want to have the experience of that. So it's too early for me. So I'm like, right, okay. I'm gonna start searching for some other solutions other than the bank, and there must be something else.
Yeah.
And then I think then my mindset switched 180%,
Wow.
and I said to myself, right, okay, we move on to this way or the other. We need to do something else. And then the bank wasn't happy about it, about my plans. They want to keep hold of me, being called a nickname of Wolf, not being bad, but being a hunter in terms of having a really good kind of feedback with the clients. The clients were happy, we were always welcomed. And I've always been spotting the possibility for the clients, okay, in terms of the business, what we can do about. And I'm transformed nowadays. I mean, by now looking at the back nearly 10 years ago, I can see myself really performing really well and explore the all angles of the life and possibilities which they come across to me.
Wow. So the story is like breathtaking, to be honest with you.
Mm.
I have to admit, I never heard that story before, and I don't really know what to say. But it comes down to the conclusion that it was a major life event that changed your mindset, that allowed you to think about different priorities in life. And of course, that's even added more into your courage and really just understanding that there is just one life. And if there is an opportunity for me somewhere, then I just need to go and take it.
Mm.
I think in some people's life, we're waiting for that magical moment, that type of event where things will trigger something in your mind, and we're waiting for that moment. But sometimes, do we need this? And that's the whole thing. Like, do we need to see that our bank account is, for example, in a negative balance before we make a decision that we finally need to do something about
Correct.
our life? Because if we wait, then nothing will change.
Mm.
If you're happy where you are today, then that's absolutely fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. But it's really, really hard to expect that tomorrow will be different than today if we don't change something today.
Mm.
So my sort of conclusion from your story right now is, whatever is your goal, whatever is your plan, whatever is your dream, just go and do it rather than waiting for a critical event in your life,
Mm.
like it happened in your life, right?
Mm.
just
Correct.
just just don't wait for that, just go and do it, and hopefully that story will inspire people to take that action. So I understand what was your biggest challenge, or one of your biggest challenges in your
Mm.
in your life. Tell me, what was your biggest win?
Right. Okay.
Tough one.
Tough one again. I mean, um, after the sort of topic we just touched about, the being involved in the raid, there was a couple of smaller ones thereafter, but then moving forward, I mean, the biggest win, which really pushed me, then I think they were just the signs, I could call them, in terms of being unlighted or lighted, inspired,
Hmm.
in terms of the one first things which happened, sort of like cold water bucket in my head, on my head. And I thought, right, okay, go on, move on. You need to do something. You're still young. You can make it, and you can still better live and gain a bit more from this life. So the biggest moments, I mean, for me, I think they would be called as very much simple. And aspects. The money which before I go to this, the money I received from the bank, they were only just to help me to survive. Okay. And there was the moment from the first to the last month of the month, I had my wages and they kind of been coming and going. So I needed just really been surviving.
Yeah.
Okay. And that wasn't good enough. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Having a child, what I'm going to do for him, how I'm going to provide. And that was kind of mentality thinking, right, okay, we need to move on. Do a bit of a, from, do small steps, but try to make him do them. And them situation, as I said, they were really a major event, which really triggers me and kind of, I'll call it slap in the face. Blaze, wake up, do something about it. Your life is waiting for you.
Yeah.
Grab it, while you still can. That's the key factor in here, I could just pointed out. And then the financial freedom. I mean, as soon as I started not having a kind of somebody at the back of your back saying, what are you going to do? And breathing into your ears saying, right, do this. What's your target? What are you supposed to do? Wake up. You're late. You haven't done this and the other. Why you've done that? What can you do better? I mean, the people were there to increase the income for the business. But on the other hand, there was the cost of my life, the cost of my stress, my anxiety, thinking, oh, what's the manager going to say today? If they're going to be happy about it.
Yeah.
And even though, as I said, my nickname was the Wolf, I was really good at it. I was wiping most of the people asses there in the bank. So there was no other one, if I could just say, at the time, as far as I remember. Obviously, being bilingual brought me a much more customers as the other had, so I could really play the game with two sort of nations, English and foreigners, really. So there was a massive advantage. But then, end of the day, by the end of the week, the manager been coming, Blaze, brilliant. You've got a really fantastic week. What you've got for the next week? What's your plans? What your diary looks like? And you're thinking, I've not even absorbed the kind of appreciation. It's not even went through my head. I've only heard the last sentence as what your next week's diary looks like. And you're thinking, right, you've not even let me to enjoy the moment. Do you know what I mean? It was so bad.
Yeah.
Sounds like so bad. But then these days, if you're looking at the manager's script and how you want to be a good manager,
Yeah.
you're meant to give an appreciation, because why employees are leaving their managers, their businesses, because they're not getting enough appreciation
Got you.
from the managers, even though the money is the trigger point. Don't get me wrong, it is, because the money, without them, you've got no aspect to create or to transform your dreams.
Yeah, of course.
But end of the day, the appreciation is so needed every single steps of your way. And I said, right, okay, that's enough, and I'm really done with it. I need to move on. So the independence, the money, and the way I've discovered that I could go for holidays, not maybe once or even beforehand. I couldn't even afford to do this because there was a mortgage, there was this and the other, as your normal daily routines and expenditures and what so on, everything being growing and the wages not being really great. But creating my own spectrum of business and moving on and creating the life which I wanted, the way I wanted, being a director, uh, creating the plans, being organized as well. The bank helped me in sort of the sense to knowing how to being a good organizer, making the plans for the future, and then booking your diaries. So the people as well who've actually been in the bank with me, they moved with me. It's funny, so fantastic feeling that the people have not been wanted, and then you're realizing that people are not there for just the bank called Lloyd's Bank, whatever, Lloyd's TSB at the time. There was you. The people want you. So no matter what, you're thinking, oh, because they like the brand. They don't. The people actually buying off you. So how good service you providing, the customers are willing to stay with you. Wherever you go is you. You're the key person and who makes the business.
Wow. I mean, yes, you started with your biggest wins and then you concluded onto something massive, which absolutely is. I mean, people might know the brand, but at the end of the day, you as the person representing and you being the point of contact, you're going to be the one who's selling it. Now, obviously, you're running your own business. You're now obviously the main point of contact. So people, when they buy your service, buy your time, right?
Exactly.
They buy from you because you're a human, you're a person, not because you're just an AI bot who's asking, like answering their questions. And that's what people buy nowadays. And to be honest with you, it very much is associated with how I'm running my mentoring and coaching services. Because nowadays, when people go and start doing things in rent to rent, they will just go with a naked script. that you can probably find on YouTube. You can find it in every single book about rent to rent. You can find it on Google. You can find it very, very easily. But then when you just repeat the same script over and over and over again, oh, can I do rent to rent on your property or something very similar? It's very, very vanilla, dry sort of script.
Yes.
And people will just sense it. People don't like it. 9 times out of 10, you'll probably not hear from them whatsoever. And maybe that one person will just reply, just piss off, or you know what, we don't do it. And that's going to be the best case scenario.
Yeah.
So that's the very, very true aspect of it. If you focus on human relations, on getting that vibe and keeping that human touch to things, people naturally like it a lot more, and they will buy from you more likely because you're human. Amazing, I love it. So another question I wanted to ask you is, obviously, as you touched base before, you're not originally from the UK. You come from Poland, just like I do, which is absolutely great because we could probably talk now Polish, but you know, if people also want to understand English more, the question is, what would you say to people who have got this concept or this idea in their mind, but perhaps they're blocked by perhaps doubts in their mind that they will not manage because of the language barriers, because maybe they think there is too much of a gap in the cultural barrier between the nations, nationalities maybe? What would you say? How did you overcome that? Because obviously you had to overcome that at some point. And maybe somebody who is talking, who cannot speak English, that's a different story. But I think amongst different Eastern European people and people even from different other countries, people do speak good English. They do have some abilities or skills, yet they still don't take that step forward. What would you say to those people based on your experience?
Right, another topic which is very interesting for you guys, definitely. Do you know, I did as we all do. I think we've had a comfortable life, had, you know, that sort of kind of safety comfort zone, the box that you in it, you call it, you name it. Within the aspect of having a comfortable life, having your pension paid, your national insurance paid, whatever. But then after you realizing, other than that, you've got some future which could create a bit more than you can get. So I've always been welcomed to speak to the people. I mean,
Okay.
even my customers, some of the customers were coming with sorting their banking with me, but on the other hand, they knew they've been bringing a lot of money. Let's say, I don't know, the car sellers, the people been doing hairdressing, whatever. Yeah. And these people have always been bringing a lot of more money than you kind of could imagine.
Yeah.
And I just said, right, I know it maybe sounds wrong, but then you obviously compare yourself, thinking, for that what I do, I get just the peanuts, and then I could do something better because the guys are doing their hairdressers, for instance. Not saying that which work is worse, better, but in terms of they were getting more money. You're thinking, what on earth they doing different than I do that I'm not deserving to get it?
Yeah.
So what do I need to do, and how I can transform it then? So some of the people I was chatting about, and you know, trying to see what's the sort of they kind of the life. Transformed, or how they approach it by themselves. Um, some of the people have been giving me tips how to manage, what to do, and where to kind of orientate your knowledge in that basis. And I was thinking, right, because I know such a lot about it, not such really, because there was a really in-depth information in terms of the finances, how to not harm the customers as well, because if you're not having this right knowledge, you're probably going to hurt someone. And that I did feel uh, accomplished
Okay.
by knowing and having everything ready there with me, all my luggage from the bank. I'll be able to definitely transform it and pass it on to the customers and keep them happy as well, make their life much better, because people, most of the times, be as employees, they were only thinking, oh yeah, I've got this and a couple of quid, and having a mortgage and that. But step by step, I was trying to encourage as well people to move on and do something with their life, because if you've got this money, you can invest it, you can move on and make this money not sitting in your bank account. Kind of, invest in something and gain more money. This is the simplest way.
Yeah.
Um, and in terms, in my view, as I've transformed my knowledge and move on, I've started meeting more people, being open, and suddenly I've started realizing not being focused just about my routine on a daily basis, what I have to do for the clients. I was asking the basic question: what have you done? What can I do different? What sort of who did you speak to, and how did you speak to? And suddenly the connections, been creating connections, opportunities, by word of mouth, for some, by communicating with clients, with potential clients or customers. Then in real life, they got in touch with me to one of the other potential people who have already did the same sort of work in the past. And I said, well, okay, I could do that. I can do this as well. I exactly know what they are doing, but how to start. And then I've noticed that if you go to being at the beginning as create myself as a self-employed business, which then pays yourself a wages. You kind of a master of your own taxation. What your expenses are, having the right accountant, having a people like storytellers as we do at the moment to give you a direction, to give you a hand, to tell you how to not make this kind of, I know, weird, costly, stupid mistakes where you could really, what sometimes could you take you down, thinking, oh, I've tried this, it didn't work because I did it wrong, and it cost me a massive fortune of money to recover. But then by Camille, by myself, if you've got the right person at the right time and you speak about it and say, right, what is your kind of problem that you want to overcome? What is your doubt in yourself? Trust me, I've had doubts, definitely, thinking, what on earth? All my family just been really negative about it, saying, yeah, you've got a position in the bank, stay with it, go along with it, because this is guaranteed, this is like kind of for
Mm.
life. This is the money for life. You definitely not be able to lose this position because you're so great. But then I said, no, hang on, guys, this is not your life. I know, I do appreciate your opinions about it, but keep it to yourself. All right, fair enough. Keep it to yourself. I'm doing everything what I want with my life, even though you kind of it's all against you. I want to do something about it. So I took the life in my hands, and I thought, right, my dad was always an expert. My mom saying, right, okay, this is the other. My missus was kind of being on thinking, shall we do this? Not as risky. How are we going to pay the bills if you're not going to have income by doing your own business? I mean, we all got the same doubts, okay? End of the day, we're thinking, what are we going to do if? But you have to try. I mean, there's loads of businesses on the market which are performing. I know sometimes ups and downs, happening, and I've had them as well. Uh, but the only people who don't face the problems are people who don't do nothing. Okay, that's the need. If you try, if you attempt, nobody of us being able to drive when you're 18 by the time that you took your driving tests,
Of course.
exams, and courses. So by learning, by reading the books, there's loads of books you can read about that which then could give you the small tiny trigger at the time you're thinking, I didn't realize that I could do that. It's so simple. Like I was thinking that it's tremendous amount of work I need to invest. Sometimes it's simple things which could trigger you to next level, to push you forward further. And I've had a couple of books. I was introduced by one of my colleagues, uh, the basics, the investment, how to do an investment, and how to set up your own business. I would say definitely that there was my kind of a case. I come across a really good accountant who taught me as well. Then said, Blaze, if you do this and the other in terms of your business, I could save you this much money. This is how much you're earning. This is what we can do about it. So manipulating things or kind of read them out in different aspects of understanding, which for me there was a magic at the time. I didn't know what to expect, and whatever he tells me is the truth. But then I've had a meeting, one or the other meeting, and the people who kind of been in the same position as well as mine, and sometimes even in kind of a few steps further than me. And they said, "Like, don't worry about it. I mean,
Hmm.
if you fail, it's always better to do this step forward and say, yeah, I did that, I've tried it, and it didn't work for me. As I say, the business, your sole trader business, your own company is not always the way for you, but just give it a try,
Yeah.
definitely, and have the people around you. Because as I said,
Mm.
I'm not saying that I've stopped talking to my dad, but I've just explicitly I told him that I do appreciate what you said to me. Don't push me any further because I'm not going to listen to you. It's not your life. It's my life. You did what you wanted with your life. I'm kind of taking care about myself. So I do appreciate you've had your time. Sorry, you've had your time. You did what you want at that time, and I think I'm taking everything by myself now, and it really pays out. We've obviously had ups and downs with investment. Something failed, something went better. But end of the day, it still kind of drives me. I'm still in the business, as you can tell. I'm doing pretty good, and everything is really, really well for us at the moment. For me and my missus, my children at the moment as well, observing us how we performing, and they said they're so amazing, they're so sweet, they're so nice. By when your children actually appreciate what you do, and it's like, Dad, you're working really hard, you're doing well, and I would like to be. I want to follow your example. And
Wow.
it's so touching, honestly, it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Wow, that is an incredible story, and that's a beautiful culmination of the whole thing. That your family can really appreciate what you do. I remember that one day when I was driving back from a meeting. I think on that day I closed a client that was worth quite a lot of money,
Mm.
and my Dominic sat at the back seat, and he was like, "Dad, I'm so proud of you, and in the future I want to be exactly like you are." When he said it, it just crushed
You're
my
melting.
heart.
Yeah, I
I
know.
was melting in that scene. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So yeah, go ahead, son, do it. Be like daddy. but
Get
no,
in, get in.
but no, that was, I
Uh,
remember this very similar moment. It's another great reward for in exchange for the effort that we put into our business.
yeah.
Let's face it, running a business is not easy. You have to struggle with different people. You have to struggle with different problems. You have to solve those problems.
Mm.
All of a sudden, you have to be good at sales and marketing, at customer service. You have to be good at everything.
Mm.
Of course, you don't have to figure it all out at the beginning, but yes, you
Yeah,
have to improve every single day. Sometimes it can mean a bit of a mental strain,
yeah,
and how you pick up from those situations that sometimes can be more challenging, sometimes less challenging, will determine what type of entrepreneur you're going to be.
yeah, yeah.
But on the flip side, the reward there is huge, and
Mm.
not just financial. If your own son or if your own daughter can tell you that they are really impressed with your effort,
Mm.
that is another level of reward. And I think you wouldn't get that from them if you kept working in a bank, and they would just say, you would be just a normal banker, even if you're a good banker, but you will be still just in a bank. And
So true.
that's the reality. Now you're living the life of your on your own terms. You can come and visit me in the office.
Oh,
We can have a podcast. You've got so much to share, right?
definitely.
And 100% I agree with you. Whatever the concept is right now in somebody's head,
Mm.
and language is not a barrier. If you're from India, Poland, Mexico, doesn't really matter. If you've got a concept in your mind, just bloody go and do it.
Mm.
Surround yourself with the right people. You said it, and I 100% agree
Yeah,
with you on that. And on top of it, we have to remember that there is also an element of skill. So if there is a little bit of a gap in a skill set, then try to identify that and fill that gap. So, for example, if you feel that maybe you're not the best at communicating to people, which is obviously very, very important
yeah,
when you're an entrepreneur, then practice it. Speak to people who are good at communicating.
Mm.
Communicate more with people. Practice it. That's a skill to learn.
Yeah.
I used to hate sales, and I couldn't handle a sales conversation. Now I can sit down with somebody and I can have a chat with them in a way that it doesn't sound salesy, because it doesn't have to be.
Mm.
But this is something I went through many different programs. I bought many different mentoring programs. I've got mentors right now who still sort of take me through that journey. And it's practice, practice, practice. So it's a skill that you can learn. And in business, everything comes down to skills and your effort. If you're willing to put in the effort, the energy, and then you've got the skills, no way you're not going to succeed. That's how I see it. Plus, of course, you become the sum of 5 people you surround with yourself with.
Yeah.
So if you are around losers, let's face it, then you're going to be another loser, right?
Sorry, yeah.
If let's face it, let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but if you surround yourself with people who are successful, then you're increasing your chances massively, and also you're giving yourself the opportunity to learn from these people as well.
So true.
So one last question that comes to my mind, because obviously having a mortgage broker in the office, I would simply waste the opportunity if I didn't ask you, where do you think the market is going now in 2025?
Right. I wouldn't say it's the ideal question, that one, but to tell you the truth, I mean, my personal opinion at the moment, I mean, by reading and listening, the financial market and what's the expert are saying, I can't really predict 100% to tell you what you meant to do. So I wouldn't
Of
take that.
course.
I don't take it as a granted advice. Anything what I say is not written in stone. It's could as you say, could be a flip of the coin tomorrow. Could everything change? We could have a war, and we could have another distraction about anything really. What's going to happen and destroy the market?
Force majeure.
Exactly. At the moment, I mean, looking at the driver is the inflation, which to me the inflation at the moment is not really stable enough. Okay, it does fluctuate in
Yeah.
terms of being below two. Suddenly now is 3 point something. Now is 3.2. Sorry, 2.3, if I remember it correctly, and they predicting it going to be even going further. The problem I've noticed recently, what I've read, was the prospect of um, what's the business is going to grow and how the business is going to grow in the UK. They anticipating at 1.5% and meant to be going up. Okay, but what's it called? The gross income for the country. I think I forgot the exact word for this one. It says it's been reduced to 0.75%, which in that in reality is actually bringing us down, thinking that England is still recovering after the COVID. Other than that, what you hear on the news at the moment, unfortunately, the government are splashing the money right from the right to the left and right even centre. So every single penny what we actually put into the government now, rather than helping else, it just goes somewhere else. So uh, predictions, it looks better, but it's slowly. It's really slow at the moment, and it doesn't really look that in about next year or so we're going to say we in a total different place from today. So I would say it probably the rate might drop because now on the 6th of February, sorry, there was the Bank of England community meeting, which they reduced by the 0.25%. So we went from 4.75 just as the aspect to 4.5. If you've not heard it yet, and anticipation in the future. Probably not the next meeting, a meeting after, maybe around May time, April, May time. There'll be another meeting where there might be another 0.25% drop. If it will, it's obviously then influence the prices going up by the on the market. So the properties might go up. So if you were an investor and you want to do something into the field as we are in a mortgage or buying the property, so do something about the properties and treat that as an investment. I would rather doing something right now rather than holding it up. Because if the rates want to drop, obviously that's going to move on the market, and that gives a bit of a more power for the lenders to give more lending, to offer more lending. The affordability going to twist to be lower and being going kind of because the risk going to be lower, and that going to emphasize the pricing on and the lending to flaming the interest rates going down, and that's going to be transformed onto the value of the properties, which to me is another snowball which then could create another problem in the future. So I've got a bit of a doubt slightly on this one. I don't know if being optimistic 100%. I am thinking yes, there is still a potential if you want to make the money, because I think the brick and mortar brings you the most investments in return. But be careful. Do kind of business with the right people, and make sure you're not going to fail as well. Have kind of a conversation with experts, making sure whether this investment is going to bring you this and the other. Have a calculator. Always have your pen sharp, and know exactly the figures that what's the return going to bring you back. And all the best for the future. Hopefully, I'm going to be having another podcast with Camille, and I'm going to bring you a bit more steady on my, as I could say, optimistic, but in reality having kind of guarantee in sort of a business, because at the moment it's still shaky. I mean, now there is a bit of a conflict with Trump, with the politics, which that's got a massive impact. What's going to happen in the future, whether current party, Labour Party, going to survive, and I don't want to go into that jazz, but end of the day, it has an impact on us all. If you thinking, I'm not really into politics, but you are. We all own the thumb of the politics, and they in charge of telling us what's going to be happening. So all the best for now. Thank you so much for having me on, and I think that's kind of the conclusion of me. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much for the insight. I 100% agree that the market is still a bit wobbly. The market is still not 100% recovered from the COVID, from everything that was happening. Of course, we're seeing the market, I think, going in the right direction, slowly going in the right direction. I don't think we're going to see the mortgage rates like we could see like 3, 4, 5 years ago, and it was just like, it was ridiculously low. But yeah, I think it's going in a positive direction. That, however, does not mean that people should be waiting, because if you wait, then you'll be waiting until you hit the graveyard and nothing will happen, right? Exactly. So exactly. That's the reality. Awesome. Washe, one last final thing. Obviously, you're a mortgage broker. You're helping people, not just Eastern European people. You're helping people who can speak English, right? So if somebody wanted to get your advice or find out more about your service, what's the best way to contact you?
Right. So if you want to delve a bit more information about it, just give me a shout. My telephone number is 077 11838385, which is pretty simple. Give me a call, drop me a text message, or either via the Facebook, which is Blaze Wection. Probably we could add some. We will
add the link, information just at the bottom now. Yeah,
just to go further. My email is blazej@openfs.co.uk. So any kind of route or any kind of Instagram as well, you could try to go on the WhatsApp. So whichever way, I'm really approachable. So don't scare to ask the question. So I'm there for you guys. Definitely.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm sure that there will be people who will be looking for information. And of course, I can 100% recommend you, because you are in the market for a long time and I know your ethics. So great. Thank you very much for popping into the office. Thank you very much for spending time with me today. It was an absolute pleasure to have you, not just as a friend, but also as the colleague property investor, right? And property expert in a certain field. So really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your expertise. And I wish you all the best. And I'm looking forward for some future projects.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
It was good to have you as well.